Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning on this Sunday, gorgeous Sunday day, hopefully. Not sure where everybody is. You might be piping in from different places, but here in Palo Alto, it's gorgeous out. Today we're doing a supplement writing workshop. This is next to your personal statement, and possibly even more important than your personal statement are the supplement essays. So we're making a whole workshop on this because you will be writing these essays very soon if you haven't already started writing them. And we want to kind of both frame for you the importance of these essays and then also kind of give you some opportunities to try them out, walk you through the different types of why supplement essays that are particularly important. And they're basically kind of three you have seen already. One is, why have you chosen your major and how will you study it at our school? The other one is, why do you want to be a part of our community? And how will you contribute? And the third one is, why do you want to come to our school, basically? And that one's kind of more open-ended. So we're really excited to do this workshop with you today. I'm here with Kate Givens, my colleague, and Kate will be walking us through the exercises. I just want to give you a short introduction to these, this next phase. So we're moving away from having drafted the UCs and the personal statement. Many of you are still working and refining your personal statement, and we're really looking forward to reading that. We love the work so far. We've been really enjoying reading your work, and we feel like it's really authentic, and each student really sounds like themselves, which is great. So we're just really pleased with how hard you're all working, the effort you're putting in, how you're showing up. So just want to thank everybody for that, and also for letting us know when you feel that a direction we're taking is not authentic and doesn't feel like you. So that's really important as well. The goal is to make you sound like you and to make you shine and stand out in this process. The next phase we're going into is the supplement writing phase. These are the questions that each college asks you. So you've got your personal statement on the Common App, and then most of your private schools, your out-of-state state schools will be on the Common App as well. And you'll be pasting your personal statement into this common application, and it will go out to all of those schools listed on your common application. And then additionally, you'll be answering questions and writing essays for each college. And this should be getting clear as you're filling out your common app and starting to get the hang of it. You'll be hanging out on that dashboard a lot over the next few months. And basically the questions that we've taken so far and placed in your supplement docs and in this exercise today are from 2024. We're not expecting there to be too many changes. And most of the questions that we're asking you today, we know for sure they're going to be in the applications. And many of the supplements that we've put in your document already, we know that those are the current year supplements. So like University of Washington, Boulder, Oregon, Georgia, Georgetown, those schools already have, and University of Michigan, those schools have already stated on their websites that these are the 2024-25 essay prompts. And so we've started adding those into your document, and you'll have the opportunity to work on those today as well. These essays are really important, and I just want to kind of let you know what we see year after year. So we know you're really busy. A lot of you have a lot going on. In August, you're going back to school, so you'll be more distracted. There'll be perhaps like athletic camps that you need to attend. You need to meet with your counselor to make sure that you're enrolled in the right classes. It's a big transition to go from having an open summer back into schedule. So August tends to be a little bit cattywampus. We're going to really make our best effort to keep you on track and keep you working forward each week. And we'll ask that you try your very best to stay on track with us, because these are really important weeks for making sure that you understand how to do these supplements, that you're prepared for your meeting with your writing advisor. And that means showing up, that you understand something about University of Washington, and you can talk to your writing advisor about why you're excited to go there, why it's a great fit for you. those kinds of things. So for each time you meet with your writing advisor, you're going to be working on a different supplement prompt, and you need to come in really prepared, having done your writing assignment, but also prepared to talk about why you're a great fit for that school and what you're looking forward to. So that's why we've given you this supplement worksheet to start outlining what you like about each of your schools, what you could see yourself doing there. Moving into this next phase, it's really important that you do your very best work. So as I'm saying, students are going back, it's a month of transition. It's kind of easy to get distracted and forget about the fact that you're even applying to college. And more importantly, it's easy to put these essays kind of, you figure I'll do it later, or, I don't really know exactly what it is about this college that I like, but it's really important that for each one, you're taking the time to do your very best job. And the reason that I say this is that you'll be writing these essays, we'll be reviewing them and refining them, and then they go into your application in October. And at this time, you still may not be completely like, wow, it seems unreal still that you're applying to college. So it's starting to sink in, but it hasn't sunk in finally. And for most students, it doesn't sink in finally until they've hit submit, at which point it's too late to do your very best in your application. So my point is, many students, they're waiting in January to get the results from colleges, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I just wish that I'd written that essay better, or that I'd gone to an information session or reached out to the college counselor that visited my school, or, that I'd really made my very best effort with my colleges. At that point, you can't do anything. So once you've hit submit, it's pretty much over. You're done. You can't, it's too awkward. It looks like you're grasping to try to have control over the process and do something that you should have done earlier. So it's really important that over the next 2-3 months that you're putting in full effort on understanding why these colleges are a fit, doing your research, who are the professors you could work with, what are the courses you could take, what are those quirky aspects, traditions, cultural mores, things like that about each college. You can go to the college newspapers and check that out. You can just sort of, there might be a TikTok with some funny information about a school. You can go to Unigo and Niche and find out a lot about colleges. But it's really important each time you write that essay that you're giving it your full, so that you can convince the reader that you're very serious. And even if you're EDing, or REA to Stanford, and that's really the school you're really hoping to get into, you need to take that kind of commitment and best work to each single college. I want you to think about it like a romantic relationship, right? So in a romantic relationship, you're not going to say the same thing to everybody trying to start, a match. You want to say something special. You want to say that person to feel like that who they are, and that there are a lot of great reasons for why you're a match. You're not going to say the same thing to every single person. So even if it's your safety, even if it's your match, it's really important that you take that sort of almost romantic approach to these essays and try to convince your reader of why you're so excited to spend time with them, because the readers are like, show me the love. I want to know that you've done your homework. I want to know you're excited about my school. And if you're not, then they'll pass. So that's why it's so important. So that's my little opener for this morning. I'm going to let Kate take the show from here forward. And Kate, I'll let you signal for me when you're ready for me to share the slides. If you have any questions, please post them in Q&A and we'll respond to you there.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Kate. I'm one of the college counselors here. So if you haven't had a chance yet, the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to open your PIQ document, and then also your Why Us supplement workshop handout that's in your shared your all essays folder. So that's the PIQ document that you've been working in with your WA, and then also that Why Us handout supplement homework document that I know you all have completed fully. We're going to use both of those in session today. While you're opening that up, let me just give you a really rough timeline for how we're going to fill in your supplement document. You do have a separate document in your all essays folder that's titled supplements. We've probably put one or two prompts in there already because, as Felicia mentioned, Boulder, UW, Duke, Georgia Tech, UMich, all of those schools have already released their essays. So we've already put prompts in most students' folders. The Common App is going to shut down for their annual relaunch this coming weekend. So on July 27th, they're going to shut down until August 1st. On August 1st, they're going to publish all of the updated prompts and application materials. So our team is going to work starting on August 1st to populate all of your supplement documents with the most up-to-date prompts. Now, you do have some responsibility here. So just so you know, when you go in and fill out your common application, different majors can sometimes trigger different prompts. So if you put down that you want to be a biomedical engineer, you might get another prompt. Just as an example, we're going to endeavor to catch all of these, but it is really up to you all to make sure that you fill out your common application early so that if there are any surprise essays, we catch them early as opposed to on that like last week in October, which would be kind of a mess. So just so you know, you are going to be doing some writing in session today. The prompts might change, but this is going to be really good practice. We are going to be looking at the most common prompts. So even if a particular school's prompt changes, you're going to be reusing your work. So once again, we've got our PIQ document open, got our supplement document, supplement homework document open. We're going to start by looking in our PIQ document. All right, so what we want you to do is look through your PIQ document, and you should see some highlighting has happened on one or more of your essays. So it might be your academic essay, so either your educational opportunity or your academic interest essay. You'll probably see some highlighting. You might see some highlighting on a community or a leadership essay too. We want you to glance over that highlighting. Those are the gems that Felicia and I have identified in your original PIQ drafts. Those gems are the things that we think you should really include in your supplements. The thing about the supplement essays is most of them have a pretty tight word count. So you've been drafting at 350 words. You can anticipate going down to 250 words, 200 words, even 150 words, sometimes 100 words. So you'll notice that we might not have highlighted the whole essay. And the reason for that is we're sort of saying this maybe we can leave, but this is sort of the heart of the essay that we want to make sure that you are looking through. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes right now to review those highlighted materials in your PIQ document. Just look over your gems, see if you can read what's highlighted without the things that aren't highlighted, and see where you might be having to add a transition, where you might need to add a little bit more explanation. I'm going to give you 5 minutes right now. Go. All right. So, thank you for looking over your highlights. We're going to switch to the other document now. That's the supplement homework doc. And Felicia, if you want to share the table with the crowd. So we're going to be looking at your workshop homework handout. And if you haven't done the assignments, definitely want you to circle back to them. We do want you to look over those writing tips. We want you also to look at the video about college research and then start filling in the research for those colleges. Like Felicia said, the real key to our supplement essays is having a really personal connection to each college and making sure that you can showcase that in the essays. So this graph, this is exercise 2 in the outline on the homework and handout. It's on page, well, depending, about page 5. So this graph is a way to start brainstorming what you're going to be including in your in terms of college research in these essays. This is really a way for us to show that you're a match for the school and the school is also a match for you. We use this graph also to prepare for interviews. So just so you know. We are not asking you to come up with brand new content today. A lot of what we're doing today is going to be how do we repurpose the great PIQs that we've already written. So I want you to think first in mind with your academic subject, or if you wrote it, your educational opportunity essay. So start thinking about that. And we're going to look at this graph together. So the first column of the graph is your identity. So your identity might be that you're an engineer. It might be that you are a business person. It might be that you are an explorer. Maybe you're going to go undeclared and you're sort of seeking or exploring. It might be that you're a problem solver. It might be that you're a connector or a communicator. Don't overthink it. There's really not a wrong answer here, but thinking about that academic essay that you've already written, thinking about what is the identity you want your reader to take away from that? What do you want them to know about who you are? The second column is the anecdotes. And again, we're not coming up with brand new content. What was the content you used in that academic PIQ to prove that you are well prepared for your major or that you're interested in your academic interest? It might be that you started a business or a nonprofit. It might be that you have watched every single YouTube video about nuclear physics that there is out there. Whatever your little anecdotes, that's what's going to go in that second column. The third column is that personal meaning. So why is this important to you? What are you going to do with this in the future? Is it that you want to change the world? Is it that you want to make someone's life a little easier? Is it that you wouldn't be you without having this academic interest? So that's what goes in that third column. And then the fourth column is where we're going to pull in that college research. So for our exercise right now, what we're going to do is we're going to determine one college that you're going to sort of follow across. So you might choose LMU or Chapman or Boulder. They all have major statements. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Austin, UT. All of those would be great picks to sort of put in this fourth column. And we're thinking about how does that college match that identity or those anecdotes or that meaning for you. So it might be that they have a class that is directly related to something that you have been self-studying and you're going to be able to learn so much. There might be a professor who's doing something really fascinating. Maybe you even watched a video of them. It might be that their department has a big emphasis on social entrepreneurship, and that's something that's really important to you. And it might be a club or an activity that is also related to that identity or those interests that you have. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time. And again, this is a brainstorming exercise. There's no wrong answers. You can't get the graph wrong. But it's a good idea to start thinking about what kind of college research you need to be doing or what college research you already have and how it ties in with your identity. So go ahead and let's fill out that first row of that best hits graph now. I'll give you a little bit of time. Go. Okay, come to a stopping point if you're still working. So this is a graph that you can go back to and brainstorm for your other essays. You might think about your community essay or your leadership essay if you have those essays written, what identity you sort of are portraying, how do you showcase it, what it means to you, and then how does the college of your choosing connect? You, of course, can do the same exercise with different colleges, but this is a good way to start thinking about the connection that you have to the colleges you're applying to. We use this for interview prep. It's something that some of you will be hearing about interviews in the next coming months. This is something we ask you to do also to prepare for those because, again, really showcasing that you've thought deeply about the place where you're interviewing, where you're applying, and showing that you do have a connection there. That's very valuable. We also this is a good exercise that you can do even in looking for a job or an internship. So I always say like all of these are transferable skills. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the major essay now. So the major essay is one of those top three essay prompts that different colleges will ask. So this might show up in a couple of ways. You might have a question that just asks, why are you interested in the major that you've chosen? How are you going to pursue your academic interests? You might have sort of the alternative question similar to what's asked at Boston College or Boston University. Which of today's local or global issues is of particular concern to you, and how might you use your education to address it? At its core, that question is really asking, what do you want to study and why? So not actually that different. Of course, you want to address all parts of the prompt, so you might have to go a little bit loftier if you do have one of these questions about local or global issues, but sort of a similar thing. Now, we, again, are not looking to write a completely different major essay than what you did for your PIQs. We would love it to see you reuse. That's why we have a little recycle symbol there on the exercise, that academic or that educational opportunity essay. You'll also notice that we've given you 250 words, which again, that's pretty typical. Sometimes you'll get 300, sometimes you'll get 200, but sort of in that range is what we're expecting. What we want you to do when you're drafting is we want you to go ahead and you can reuse your gems from your PIQs. So you might copy and paste that essay over from the PIQ doc right here into this homework document. You might cut out the parts that haven't been highlighted. And then what we want you to do also is we want you to integrate that college research into this essay. So if there is a particular class that you found that relates to something that you're talking about, bring it up. If there is a professor or if you have information on the department, research labs, that's another thing that you can look up for sure. Events, a lot of times if you go to a college's department, you can see their events calendar and you can see that they have, guest speaker events and they have lecture series. Any of that is fair game to sort of explain how you want to explore this at their college and why it's a great fit for you. My other advice is always be really excited as you're writing. Your excitement comes across in the page. So, sometimes it's a fake it if you make it. Put a big smile on your face as you're writing, and sometimes that'll come across as you're drafting. So we're going to give you 20 minutes to draft out a major interest essay. We'd like for you to get as close to something as possible. If it's not done, that's okay. You'll still have time to work on these later. But we would love you to get into a really great place where you feel really confident. Go ahead. If you need to open another tab and do some college research there, that's fine. If you want to refer back to your college research that you did early in the upper part of this document, go right ahead. But we're going to give you 20 minutes starting now. If you have any questions or concerns or you're in sort of a stuck place, you can leave us a question in the Q&A. You could also text us at hello and we can get back to you. Just go ahead, use this time wisely to the best of your capabilities. There is no lost time. This is a really great time that you have set aside for you already right now to just get some writing done. So without further ado, I'm going to start my timer and quit yapping and let you go.
I'm going to answer a question that came up because it's a really good question. The question is, can we briefly allude to something in our supplement essay that we talk about in our personal statement? As long as it's brief, that's fine. And same thing, if you're writing about something in your personal statement that you're going to develop in your supplement, it's fine to kind of briefly allude to it in your personal statement. So it might even be a very short paragraph, sort of. That's why my commitment to teaching youth how to do math has been so important, and you have an entire section on how you've helped your community, an entire essay on that. So really great question, and thank you for asking it. Okay, I've got another really good question that I'm just going to share with you all is how do you incorporate the name of a class you want to take or a faculty member in a 250 word essay? So generally you want to have probably half of that essay, or a third of it at the very least should be about the fit at the school if they ask you about it. If they don't ask you about it, it's okay if you have a couple sentences, and then maybe you're going to mention the course, this is the course that I'm most excited about, or courses like this course really excite me about being a college student, or the opportunity to work with, whatever professor allows me to continue my research in the area I've already started, whatever that might be. So you definitely, even if the essay is short, you definitely need to squeeze it in, and we'll be helping you to kind of tighten up the section where you describe your major in these shorter essays So just put as much as you can, try to get it to word count, but if you can't, don't, that's not really the concern today. The concern is more kind of practicing, talking about who you are, your major, and then how you'll, you'll pursue that at the school, or, what you're excited about in terms of that particular major at your school. So I think that answers that question. You can put it at the beginning. We usually have students kind of introduce themselves and then talk about what they're going to do. But certainly essays that start with like, this is why I'm so excited about your school, are going to grab the attention of the reader, since that's what they're really after. They're after knowing why it's a fit. Have you done your research? But also, who are you and what are you going to do? So we'll be helping you. You'll be writing these essays with your writing advisor, and then we'll be reviewing them. So we'll also suggest how to reorganize the essay potentially if we think there's a better way to do it. So there's plenty of time, but it's good to experiment with that and see what feels most natural to you as well. Thank you. So there's another really great question. I just want to share it with everybody. If there's a course you want to take, but it's upper division, meaning you have to have taken like Chem 1A and calculus in order to get into it, don't worry about that. That's fine. What it shows is that you're already looking forward toward what kind of courses are available that really excite you. And most of the time, it's the upper division courses that are going to excite you. The lower division are just like math, biology, English 1, sort of a repeat a little bit of what you've done in high school already, but harder.
Okay, you all, it's been about 20 minutes. We're going to take a break in a second, but I thought I would remind everybody if you have questions, you can put them in the Q&A and we're happy to answer them. Um, Hopefully that sort of gave you, that initial taste. We're going to, after our break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the community or diversity questions, and then we'll talk about our why essays at the end of our session. But if you have any questions at this point, if you want to drop them in the chat, we're going to take a break and come back at 11:05. So again, go to the restroom, get a drink of water, stand up, shake out your, you know, all of those, like, what do you call it when you're all, what am I trying to think of? You got to get all, you can shake out your sillies is what I don't know. I've got little kids. Um, so take, a couple minutes, drop any questions you have in the Q&A, and we'll get started right at 11:05. All right, everybody. Hopefully you are back with us. We are going to move on to the next sprint. We are going to be talking about the community diversity essays. Just to clarify, these are sort of the most typical types of prompts that we see are the major essay, a community or a diversity essay, or a Y essay. And we've identified schools that typically ask these questions, and some of these are confirmed. So for example, for the community diversity, Oregon is asking this prompt this year. The University of Michigan and UW are asking this prompt. NYU, though, for example, has not been released yet, so we're not 100% sure, but in the past they've asked similar questions. So, don't put too much ahead right now, but we want you to practice the type of question and how you're going to respond when you see these questions today. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the community diversity essay. For this one, you might be reusing from your skill essay, possibly from your leadership essay, possibly from your community essay, and then also if you wrote a standout essay, maybe from that one. This is the prompt that really came about last year. We saw a whole lot of schools using it in response to the Supreme Court's decision that knocked down affirmative action. So this is a way for schools to ask about your diversity. It's also a way for schools to get a sense of how you are going to respond to diversity. Schools want to have inclusive and diverse student populations. They want to make sure that that you are going to be accepting and inclusive on their campus, and that you are going to be adding to their diversity and their community. So there's a few different ways this question gets asked. They might ask about your cultural groups and how the world you come from and how you are going to add to the diversity of the college. They might ask about a difference that you've made in a community. So that might be another way that they're asking about it. They might also ask about times that you have witnessed diversity, maybe how you have responded to somebody who you disagree with, or you've had to change somebody's mind. All of those are ways that they're asking about this. This is a great place if you do have a strong cultural or ethnic identity that you feel comfortable talking about. You can write about this in these prompts. But this is also a good place where you can be a little bit more creative. Think about different communities that you are part of. You might think about the things that you value, and you also might think about the places where you've had an impact. Because chances are, if you're having an impact, it's probably on a community. So you're going to sort of look at those places in your life, looking at those PIQs, possibly that leadership or the community one. This is a great place also to look at extracurricular activities at these colleges. So you might be looking at clubs and organizations. You might be looking for affinity groups if you're talking about sort of a cultural or an ethnic identity. You might be looking for like different, like the Indian Students Organization or the Queer Student Alliance. You might also be looking at a school's diversity, equity, and inclusion department to see what they're doing. If you are talking more in terms of an impact that you've had on a community, you might look at service organizations on a college campus, and thinking about the different services that you could be getting involved with, different volunteering, if there's outreach programs, checking that out on a college campus. One more thing that you can definitely look at is a college's mission statement, because that, of course, speaks to their values. So it might be that they have some values that are related to equity or inclusion, or about, conversation on campus. So you might look there too to sort of see what they value the most and see what in your past you might be able to tailor this to. Some students have a hard time with this question, okay? And if you are not 100% sure what you should be answering, this is a great thing to reach out to your college counselor about. And, we might have a really great answer for you. We might want to have a meeting with you and just sort of chat it out too. But most of you have some great material in your PIQs that you could be reusing for this. Okay, so once again, I'll stop yapping. I'll give you 20 minutes to write, and we'll start now.
I'll just add really quickly that the other thing they're trying to understand is how you'll positively impact your peers. So if you've been leading, or you've got a skill or a creativity that brings people together, makes people feel good, brings order to the chaos, whatever that is, that's one way that you would repeat that. So anything you're doing to affect a community now, you might be repeating that as a college student. So that's one of the things that they're also sort of looking for.
And a question that came through in the chat was, if you feel like your culture and ethnicity is overrepresented, is it good to minimize it and focus on the values and impact more? And I would say if you have a strong connection to a culture or an ethnicity, if you're really involved in sort of that community, then I wouldn't be as concerned about it being overrepresented, as long as it's sincere and authentic, of course. And I think through that conversation, you're going to be showing your values and the impact that you're having in that community. So yes, definitely talk about the impact and what you're doing in that community. And I think that you'll have a pretty good answer. Felicia, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think if it's not, you don't want it to be forced, right? So if you're kind of, you're not necessarily in an affinity group at your school. If you are, then that's great, because then you'll support that group in college as well, potentially, and that's what they're looking for, right? So that might be important. And you want to think about the schools you're applying to. Like, Dartmouth is very isolated. Some of these small liberal arts colleges are really kind of away from big urban cities, and they tend to attract more Caucasian students than other ethnic groups. So you want to get clear about what the makeup is of each of these schools, right? Big urban schools, you don't really need to worry about it, right? It's diverse. Everybody's there. It's a big city. But for smaller liberal arts colleges that are not in a big city, check it out. I think it's more important to think here more about what are your kind of a cultural affiliations and how are you impacting the group, right? So how is your sort of sense of identity in terms of the groups that you belong to, the way that you kind of associate with people? What is that? What is your culture? What do you belong to? And then how will you be that same person in college? So again, sort of what Kate's saying, if you're in an affinity group, talk about it. If you're more of a service person, or you're really kind of more involved in technical groups and techie stuff, and organizing like hackathons or whatever it might be, then maybe that's more your cultural scene. So what is your cultural scene, so to speak? And you might have many, so then you could try writing about several of them, and we can give you feedback, and you might end up including about more than one. So that works as well. I'm just going to emphasize here for UMich and UW, they have a whole list of things that they consider a cultural group. So sometimes it's religion. We've had students write about that, extended family, neighborhood that you grew up in, sports team or clubs. Maybe you're in a rock climbing club. That's a whole community. It's a cultural scene. Maybe you have a job. Maybe you do a lot of service with a particular group, and that's what kind of you feel most captures your values and what you bring. So lots of options here. Culture is broad.
Okay, everyone, let's start drawing to a close. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna move into our final sprint for today. Um, this one is the why us essays. So the why us essay is really the chance to make that case that you are a great fit for the school and the school is a great fit for you. You'll want to bring in the most college research into this one that you possibly can. If you visited a college, mention your visit and anything that stood out to you from your visit. It's a great idea to be really specific. So instead of saying, I went to the cafeteria, what's the cafeteria building's name? Is there a landmark on the campus? You can think about academics, but you can also think about social things and other aspects. One thing that we haven't talked about that I do want to bring up here is if you have multiple supplement essays for one school. So, for example, Stanford, you're going to have several essays. You don't want to copy the same material in each essay. You don't want to overlap with the same essays. So, if you have a major statement and then there's a why us, this would be a good time to sort of talk about things outside of that major or vice versa. Some other places that you might look for some inspiration, again, those college mission statements. That's a really great place to get a good idea. And in this document, you have a link to the mission statements for most of our most popular colleges and some of the keywords that we sort of pulled out and said might be the ones to really look at. So if a school really emphasizes in their mission statement interdisciplinary learning, then talking about how you are interested in drawing together different ideas is a great idea. If it's something that's more global, if you have something that on your resume that sort of highlights your interest in sort of global issues or having a global impact, you want to bring that into this essay. So some colleges that ask just a direct why us essay, Notre Dame, Boston University, Chapman, Dartmouth, Haverford, Tufts, Wash U, all of these schools in the past have definitely asked, like, why do you want to come to our school? You can reuse information from any of your PIQs that highlights that fit. And this is another great essay that if you're sort of struggling, well, what on earth do I write about? Go back to that chart and sort of think. And you might even go, instead of going from left to right on that chart, you might go right to left. So what's important to the college, and then sort of trace back to your identity where that match is. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I'm gonna give you 20 minutes again to work on a why us essay. Again, if you have questions, leave them in the chat. If you have questions, you can also text or email us. That's totally fine. But what we want you to do, choose one of the colleges on your list and go ahead and sort of write that 250 words why them essay. All right, let's go.
I'm just going to jump in really quickly and add traditions are another thing. Like if you're really into school spirit, then you might want to look into what traditions the schools have. There might be something in there that's kind of fun. There might be something in particular, like maybe a school has an outstanding gym or they have really cool libraries. Like what are the things that you're into that you can kind of research and see if the college, so you want to think about your daily life. So you're going to get up, you're going to go to class, you're going to go to the gym. Maybe you are going to join, what are those clubs you're going to go to? Where are you going to do your study time? Are there places to go hiking? Like, are you really outdoorsy or you like to get away from school and go do something? So do you want to go into the community? Do you want to go hiking? Is there a radio station? Do you want to be a DJ? Is there a Greek system? So try another way to think through this is sort of what's your day going to be like? And then how are you going to tap into the college in that way? So those are other kind of just things to think about. And it's also just really good to start thinking about, well, what is my day going to be like? Because you're not going to be taking 6 classes a day. You're going to be taking 2. So very different schedule. So I'm just going to share that there was a student that said none of these schools were on their list. So other schools that are asking why us are Stanford, and pretty much they're asking this and maybe associated with your major, right? Wisconsin asked this question. Stanford asked this question. Dartmouth asks this question. Cornell asked this question. So most of the Ivy Leagues, at some point, they're going to ask them. U Chicago has a long essay on this. Let's see, what are some other, many of the small liberal arts colleges like Bowdoin has a very specific question though, but they're going to ask you this question. Carleton asks this question. Yeah, most colleges do. So you're not wasting your time, and you can certainly fold this into another question. And the interviews you definitely need to know. So that's important too.
The question in the chat about USC. So USC Dornsife asks about your major, but they ask how USC is going to help you achieve your goals. So it's more of a why USC than a major question, but they probably want you to focus more on the academic parts of USC. UIUC, Purdue definitely asks this. UIUC, UMich, those are major questions, but they're very much focused on the school. But again, like Felicia said, you're not wasting your time sort of looking into this and just trying it out. If nothing else, it's going to help you brainstorm the case you're going to make in any of these other questions.
Yeah, let's see. Brown also asks in a couple ways, but they ask about the open curriculum, and Columbia also asks, what is it about? So yeah, most of the Ivies have these as well. And Vanderbilt does not. But Duke. Sure.
They have something similar. UNC, I'm pretty sure, asks. All right, you all, let's get to a stopping point. Um, Hopefully you all made some progress on some supplement essays, got good starts. We are gonna give you some homework. So in your supplement document that is in your all essays folder, not the document that you've been working in today, but the separate one that has the prompts. You should have prompts for at least one school, probably two or three. Again, the ones that are in your document have pretty much been, well, the ones that are in your document have been verified that they are going to be the correct prompts for next year, unless it says otherwise. But what we want you to do is we want you to do a full draft of the supplements for at least one of your colleges. So if you have, for example, University of Washington or University of Oregon, you can complete those supplements. Those are both community diversity essays. If you have UMich, you should have the knowledge and skills now to be able to complete both of those essays. Just as a reminder, we're really trying to push you to get as much done as possible before school, because when school starts, you're going to be busy. You're going to have to focus on school. You're going to want to enjoy your senior year. So let's get as much done before school starts as possible. Just as a reminder, the Common App is going to relaunch, and we would like for you to fill out that Common App tab on your Common application. So you have this week to get that done. We would like that Common App tab to be complete for our boot camp. So we sent you some information in your CAP email. One other note, if you're not receiving our weekly CAP emails, please reach out to us immediately so that we can make sure that you are everything's good and we have the right email down for you, because we share a lot of information in those emails. We also, of course, wanted to share a little bit of time with you all so that if you have questions, you can pop them into the Q&A for us. And anything that's sort of on your mind, good. If it's something that's really personal, we'll take it to hello and we'll talk to you just one-on-one. But if you have something good for the order, we'd love to share it with the group. Anything on your minds? Well, once again, this is a really important part of the of your application journey. We want you to take these essays really seriously. This really is the place where you get to tell a college why you're so excited about them. And we want you to use as much specific research as possible. That really is a big key to this. So you probably have a good idea of what you need to look up, what you need to know a little bit more about. We are of course here, and if you have any questions about the direction of your essays, you can reach out to us. We're very happy to help you with that, and of course your WA is as well. But of course, if you all are good and you don't have any more questions, feel free to go out and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. But if you do have any questions, you drop them in the Q&A. We're happy to answer them.
I'm just going to remind everyone that we've been sending out emails with instructions for how to fill out your Common App. So please, if you have not seen those, it is in our weekly CAP email. We've sent it 3 times already. So please, first of all, make sure you're getting those emails. You can search for it in your Gmail box by saying hello@Fahey Associates. That's the email we use to send out this weekly newsletter. And in that email, you should see a link to the instructions, which are pretty detailed. It's not rocket science, but please do read over those instructions because there are some tricky questions, most particularly filling out the courses and grades, where you have to actually literally translate your transcript into the courses and grades section on the Common App. You might have questions about the exam. So while you're filling that out over the next week, you'll have until the 27th this week. If you don't get to it this week, then you'll have before the 4th when we have our camp application boot camp to fill it out. You can do part of it now, do part of it after, but it should take about 2 to 3 hours to fill it out. And we really recommend that you have that done before you come to the camp application boot camp, because then we're going to really look at this specific college applications and basically show you some of the nuances there, because they're very different one from the other. So please reach out to us if you're not receiving that email or you can't find what we're talking about. It's really important that we have a clear line of communication. We do rely on that CAP email to make sure that you're aware of upcoming deadlines. And if anything, there's any irregularities in the common application or in this season, we announce it there. So this is where we put announcements, keep you up to date on deadlines. We reach out to you personally if we're concerned, we have a question, we want to see if you need support. Please be sure to stay in touch with us in the hello text. This is where we are constantly checking on you. You can send us a question, reach out to us if you have any. You'd like to get into a meeting, you have a question about something, you'd like to look at an essay, we'll be reviewing your essays and getting them back to you, and we might ask you for a meeting at that time to review something. So other than that, we'll be seeing most of you in your CAP family meeting 2 next month. So
question in Q&A for the why us. How much do colleges care about your intrinsic value of the school? So rural, urban atmosphere, spirit, and cultural. Should I touch on it briefly or focus on academic reasons?
it depends.
I think first off, it depends on
so if the question is about your major and how you'll study it or why you chose Georgia Tech for your major, then you got to stay on academics. You don't want to start talking about, where it's located and you love it, or, that you're looking for an urban school. You don't want to talk about something. So always answer the prompt directly. And it's just going to vary from school to school, whether they're asking you to kind of answer that why question in terms of academics only. That's all they want to hear, if that's what they've written. And then maybe in an interview, or you'll have another opportunity to talk about all the cultural, geographical, social things that you love about the school. But if they only ask you about academics, don't write about other things, or they'll consider that you are not answering the question, and they'll mark you down. So you need to answer the questions directly always. That's really important.
But I'd say if it's like a broader why us, then of course, like the atmosphere and the spirit and the culture is fair game. But also staying away. I think one thing that I always worry about is if students were writing about a school that's like super urban, and the only thing that they seem to enjoy about the school is that it's in a city. That to me is not personal enough.
That's also very generic. So stay away from that. Don't say, I'm so excited to go to Columbia because it's in New York City. Everybody says that. So that's not why they think they're special. They know they're there and it's a great city. Same with LA. Really, the best thing to do is just talk about any very specific opportunities that Columbia, NYU, USC, that they actually have. So be really, really specific, but don't talk about your excitement for being in the city. Really, they're not asking you, why are you so excited to be in New York? They're asking you, why are you so excited to be at our college? So I would avoid that.
And to piggyback off of that, I see more and more schools mentioning that kids write about the weather in a way that they do not like it. Don't mention the weather at the school. That's not a reason to go to a school. Haven't you noticed that, Felicia? Like all these schools are like, yeah, we know we have great weather. Please don't mention it in your essay.
No, mostly if you're writing somewhere where it's cold, really cold, like Wisconsin or Middlebury. Well, Middlebury doesn't have essays, but Amherst, Boston College. I mean, it just depends. If it's a really long YIS essay, then telling Cornell that you're really ready for the snow and you can't wait to be up in the Finger Lakes area of New York, where you're going to be able to go snowshoeing or something like that, it might not hurt. But because those schools are sort of hurting for students that are willing to go into the deep cold. But other than that, and I think they must like have really cool traditions at University of Wisconsin on the lake when it's cold. I'm sure there's a lot of cold traditions at the cold schools, or Vermont or any of those. Hopefully not swimming, but all right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Do we have any other questions? It looks like we're good. And of course, we're here. Text us at any time. We're here to support you. We're happy to jump in a meeting if there's something you want to discuss. So just stay in touch with us on the text line. Feel free to email us if it's something more complex. And we're really looking forward to ushering you through the next couple months. It's going to be a little more intense than it's been this summer. But we're starting early so that it's not intense when everything else is intense for you. So we're looking forward to making this as smooth as possible. All right. Have a great day.